Exactly 3 minutes past the top of the hour. You're right on time for what is making news at this hour, including a conversation on promoting local ICT companies in this country, which is a discussion that we'll be having much later in this broadcast. This is KBC Lunchtime News. I'm Doreen Arange. Lensa Odingo is my co-anchor. We begin in Kisii County, where the Kisii County-based human rights lobby groups now want investigations report on fire outbreaks in numerous schools in the area made public. The lobbyist singled at Rikondio High School in Gucha subcounty, in which its 4 dormitories were razed, precipitating losses initially estimated at 4 million shillings. The group wants the probe extended to some Gusii region principals to establish whether they had a hand in the incident.
CCIO Kisii County amefikisha wapi hiyo uchunguzi yake, kwa sababu hatujaona watu wakiwa arrested wakwe charged to court for arson. The same case tumeona ile makaratasi akiendelea kutembea katika mitandao ya kwamba chief principal Rina asirudi shule mwaka ujao 2024. We take this seriously. CCIO achunguze maneno kabla maneno hayajaenda murama.
Anyway, from that, youths have been urged to shun drug and substance abuse, especially during this holiday season. Various stakeholders from Isiolo County have also raised concerns over the surge in drugs and substance abuse among the youths in the region. During a football tournament at the Isiolo Boys High School, religious leaders took the opportunity to provide incentives to young people and sensitize them on the dangers of indulging themselves in drug and substance abuse. The county government of Isiolo was also urged to fast-track the completion of the Isiolo Stadium to provide an appropriate venue for youths to converge and engage in sporting activities.
So ni kujaribu ile kuwapatia fikra kuwa kuna mambo positive wanaweza fanya kama vile huu mpira my tournament, na pia wanaweza jiepusha na madawa ya kulevya.
Bona sisi wazazi na wafanyabiashara na serikali tusione kwamba vijana wetu pia wanaangamia katika hiyo mihadarati. Kwa hivyo mimi natoa mwito kwamba tuamke, tuangalie wa kwamba vijana wetu wanaumia.
Na tungeomba serikali ishikilie vijana, iwape tournament, walete rap battle, walete dancehall battle, vijana wajishughulishe na hiyo vitu.
And still on matters youth, a section of university lecturers from 3 universities have initiated a transformative project aimed at supporting the development of youths morally. Led by Professor Levy Musalia of Tharaka-Nithi University, the leaders from Rongo, Chuka and Tharaka-Nithi universities held talks on social issues with young people, including Children's Friends Church Kakamega. The program, planned to be held annually, is geared towards equipping the youth with life skills to shape their future.
Umuhimu wa leo ni kuleta watoto wetu pamoja so that tuwafundishe yale mambo mazuri ambayo yanayokubalika na community.
Mafunzo ambayo tunaweza kuyapokea hapa ni ya kutuelekeza jinsi hata tunavyomaliza masomo kule shuleni, jinsi tutakavyoweza kujiendeleza ni kwa ajili ya kazi za hapa na pale. Hata kama utaajiriwa, mtu mwenyewe unaweza jianzishia mambo yako na ukajikuta umejiendeleza katika maisha yako.
Vijana wengi hawana ajira, lakini maarifa ambayo sasa wanapewa yanaweza kuwasaidia kujiimarisha kama raia wema, na pia watakuwa ni Wakristo wema kwa ajili wanafunzwa hata masuala ya tabia njema.
Leo hawako darasani, tunawafundisha mambo ya dunia, how wanaweza ishi na wenzao, hata upishi, usafi, jinsi wanaweza kuvaa.
Moving on, gospel artists drawn from the Western region have expressed concern and frustration over the lack of tangible benefits from copyright society in the music industry. The artists, who spoke in Kakamega County during an event that brought them together, said there is need for a comprehensive framework that ensures fair compensation of artists' intellectual property. The event was graced by Ruben Kigame, who also called upon the artists to stick to the true meaning of the gospel music.
Copyright is not helping kwa sababu naweza sema ni ufisadi, si kawaida. Manake wengi wameiga, wakati amesikia umetoa beat, anaitumia, anaweka maneno tofauti, kumaanisha talanta haimo.
Jambo la pili ambalo linaangusha gospel musicians ni pesa. Wanafuata hela mpaka zinawachanganya, wengine wanafuata mali, wengine wanaingia kwa maisha ya dhambi na wanaishi kiholela. Kwa hivyo unapata kwamba ile gospel imepotea.
Elsewhere, school heads from Manyata constituency in Embu County have been challenged to take advantage of the prolonged rainfall by harvesting enough water for use during dry seasons. Speaking during the distribution of 12 water tanks to schools, Area Member of Parliament Gitonga Mukunji noted that many schools had challenges in catering to water bills. He further said his office will support irrigation projects in every school in the region to ensure the production of sufficient food to sustain every pupil in school.
Katika Manyata constituency tuko na program ya kuanzisha maneno ya water storage ambayo itasaidia mashule zetu kuweza kuweka maji. Na muhimu sana ni kusema hiyo maji, kitu ya kwanza inasaidia ni ile program tumeanzisha ya farming program kwa mashule zetu na tree planting program katika mashule zetu.
And residents of Ganda ward in Malindi subcounty have welcomed the proposed construction of a key road linking Malindi town to major hotels in Watamu's Jacaranda area. Speaking during public participation forum at Kijitwenga Trading Center, the residents said the project was long overdue and once completed will improve the economy in the area. Area Member of County Assembly Oscar Wanja said the construction of the road will provide employment opportunities for the youths. County Executive Committee Member for Roads, Public Works and Urban Development Catherine Kenga said phase 1 of the 8.1-kilometer tarmac road will be constructed at a cost of 40 million shillings.
Hapa kwetu. Kwa hivyo ni barabara kuu yenye ambayo tunaitegemea wanaganda na wanakilifi kwa ujumla, itasaidia sana.
Hata hili eneo la Ganda pia litafunguka kibiashara, kimaendeleo na hata katika utalii. Kwa hivyo ndio sababu mstahiki gavana aliona ni bora zaidi ya kuwa hii barabara iweze kuwekwa lami. Ndio itafanywa in phases. Phase ya kwanza iishe, tuwekee tena kitengo tena kwa budget, tuweke pesa zingine, phase nyingine iishe mpaka tufike Jacaranda kwenye mahoteli.
And the Judicial Service Commission has recommended the removal of High Court's Judge Chitembwe from service. The move follows an outcome report by a tribunal that was formed to probe the conduct of Chitembwe. The tribunal was headed by Lady Justice Mumbi Ngugi. Chitembwe, who had earlier been aggrieved by the tribunal's outcome, lodged a petition before the Supreme Court on 12 grounds, among them whether the tribunal had jurisdiction to review the proceedings before the JSC or whether it failed to uphold the doctrine of the judicial independence and immunity. However, upon considering the appeal, the Supreme Court unanimously dismissed the petition. The ball is now at the President William Ruto's court. That's where it takes us on our first break. We recoil with plenty more, including what is making news in the world of business, the entertaining world of sports, and not forgetting that discussion on protecting ICT local companies. That in a short while.
She said that if she cried in front of my father, she'd convince him to let her stay.
I told you not to worry. Let me take care of this.
I hope you do.
Forgive me, Lucia. I don't know what your father told you, but then I couldn't stay at that house a minute longer.
But neither could I.
I remember now.
What is it?
You're the guy from the hotel. The guy that asked me about our boss's wife. About Mrs. Adriana Murillo.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
Nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
ni harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hot,
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM. Shoro FM.
Welcome back. And one person was injured after 2 trucks were involved in a road accident in Voi town along the Mombasa-Nairobi highway. One of the trucks was heading to Uganda from Mombasa, while the other was ferrying potatoes to Kongowea market in Mombasa. 35 sacks of potatoes were allegedly stolen by residents who posed as good Samaritans.
Strewn on the ground are potatoes from a canter that was on its way to Kongowea market in Mombasa. This is an aftermath of an accident between a canter and a lorry that was heading to Uganda from Mombasa. The driver of the latter is said to have sustained injuries.
Ndio ameumia, lakini sio mbaya. Nimekimbisha kwa hiyo hospitali, Moi Referral Hospital.
Pande yangu kidogo, kari kayumba.
Wakati alikuja pande yangu ndio nikajaribu kumhepa, lakini kama ikashindikana.
On the other hand, the driver of the canter ferrying potatoes is counting losses after 35 of the 100 sacks of potatoes were stolen.
Sana hapa inaonekana kama wameniimbia kama gunia 35. Sasa kama tumeenda hasara.
Ndio sisemi kwa ubaya, lakini hao kuna kikundi cha jamaa bodaboda ndio wamekuja, basi wakakuja juu sana, ndio wakasababisha ya kwamba sasa hizo viazi vikaanza kuchukuliwa.
Kuvamia hizo mzigo, lakini askari kafika mapema wakamsaidia.
According to police, who helped disperse the crowd that was trying to steal the potatoes, investigations are underway to establish the cause of the accident.
Tunajaribu kwanza kufungua barabara kwa sababu ilianza cause jam, na ndio tujue maneno zingine baadaye.
The morning accident has caused a traffic snarl-up on the busy highway. Seraph in Nairobi for Lunchtime News.
The Kenya National Highways Authority has partially closed 5 roundabouts along Uhuru Highway for 5 days to allow for highway maintenance works along the sections of the road. A spot check by KBC on Thursday revealed that the maintenance works had already begun and will run for the whole day from 28th December 2023 to the 1st of January next year. Not much convenience has been caused at the sections.
We say to wananchi, bear with the inconvenience, but this is for your own good, because at least now the works will be done. Ken at least has gotten shovels and trowels, who is our customer. to do these repairs on the road.
Kufunga hii barabara mimi naona tu imekuwa mzuri leo juu hiyo jam hakuna. Sasa ileti pia jam mingi sana.
Kazi si mbaya, lakini sasa tuko na shida kwa ile mambo ya rais. Uchumi ni mbaya bana.
Kenyans have been urged to diversify their travel destinations and explore different cultures and tourist attractions dotting the country. This comes as tourists visited Lake Baringo Spa tell of the untapped potential in Baringo County. Sarafina Robi for the details.
In the virgin lands of the Great Rift Valley is the sprawling vegetation dotting the hills and valleys of Baringo County. In its majesty are waterfalls, lakes, and a magical culture. That tells the story of mankind in his glory. During this festive season, the story of the beauty of Baringo goes against the grain of what is told.
Baringo is so peaceful, yeah, with the climate which is similar to Mombasa. This is the Mombasa of Rift Valley.
I love the hospitality, the people of Baringo.
At a personal level, mimi niko umumu tu, niko area, sijaenda mbali.
Tourists flock to the hidden gems of Baringo to bask in the splendor of its glory. At the Lake Bogoria Spa, the locals tell of the boom that has come with the festive season.
Wakati hii sisi tunapata mapato, watu kama sisi wenye tunaimba tunategemea wakati hii kwa watoto wetu, hata itasaweka kidogo mpaka wakati shule inafunguliwa unapeleka mtoto shule.
We also promote culture by encouraging the community to come and showcase their skills to the clients who we host, and by doing so they earn an income.
From the Il Chamos dancers, live bands, and arrays of foods, the tourists were spoilt for choice.
The hills, the valleys, and even the gorges and the forest around here is amazing. Here in Lake Bogoria, we have the geishas about 17 kilometers from this point. And this is so beautiful, where we have millions of flamingos flocking here every year. From this lake, we go to Lake Baringo, about 15 kilometers apart.
Lydia Dinteo, the general manager of Lake Bogoria, now urges Kenyans to tap into such destinations and witness the country's diversity.
Happy New Year 2024. So Baringo has so much culture tourism, sports tourism, and of course the scenic. Traveling to Baringo alone is just another tourism.
The locals are grateful for the windfall.
Sababu wakati ile ingine hatuiti mahali kama hapa, tukuje tuimbia wageni, tupate kitu, lakini wakati ya Disemba kwa sisi ni siku mzuri sana.
The skies above the saline Lake Bogoria, which is a sanctuary for flamingos, have always been a spectacular show of vibrant hues of pink due to the beautiful display of elegant birds. Sarafina Robi for Lunchtime News.
Thank you, Sarafina, for that detailed report. Time for us to now embark on our conversation. We are centering it on promoting local ICT startups and what it takes to do exactly just that. This discussion will be, I'll be holding this discussion with Siddiq Harunani, who is the CEO and founder of GBS Africa, that is Genius Business Systems Africa. Welcome to the program, Siddiq.
Thank you,
I just want us to broach this discussion by first understanding from your expertise. Yes. When you talk about the products and services as far as ICT is concerned, what do Kenyans want? What are they looking for?
Kenya is a very vibrant market. Before I embark on explaining what Kenyans want, let me just make it very clear that our country is one of the top 5 countries in Africa in the field of information technology. And Nairobi is actually the Silicon Valley of Kenya. Having said that, there is a lot of potential for local software development. We have a lot of challenges as far as implementing systems and automating companies is concerned, where there is a huge requirement for availability of resources in the local market. Yeah. So Kenyans are actually looking for a local support, because once a system is in place in any business environment, whether it's a local company or it's a small enterprise.
Just hold it there, Siddiq. I want us to take a very quick breather. We circle back to try and understand what exactly you're telling us and, you know, the challenges therein, and Kenya being top 5. So then why do we have this sort of loopholes or existing gaps? We do that after this break. Stay with us. Achana.
There will be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
A wise man once said, the best Christmas present is a happy family all wrapped up with each other. Or maybe it was a wise woman. Men don't usually think that clear. Like this guy. He ain't had a clear thought since he left his wife and 3 kids.
Mom! Oh, yes. I can't wear this. It ain't got one wrinkle on it.
I'm sorry, baby, can you please turn that music down, John?
Mom, homework.
You need help with your math, babe?
I think the food is ringing.
Oh, James, don't just stand there. Help him.
Redwell! Mike. Come on. Listen, I got you. Come on, breathe.
God lives in eternity, but man lives in time. And time is limited, and we need to manage time. What are some of the things that you want to achieve in the year 2024?
The first level is called strategic planning. The second one is called structural. The third one is called physical. And the fourth one is called relational planning.
When you have these plans, spirituality, family, health, finances, and also academics, when you plan in those 5 areas, I believe growth is automatic.
So you want to move into?
More like owning it.
And Kathy wants to sell you the house. Is it even under her name?
Nick, there's quite a lot you don't know.
You both would love to start a family in the near future.
Yeah, we would.
You're in charge of all his decisions.
What about you trying to steal my employees?
I'm not in your business.
It's Julian. What do you want? I really don't like bad energy around me.
Well, you've never partied with Tiffany Junguna before.
Oh, I can't wait. That's inappropriate.
Did I do anything wrong?
You're my boss.
This girl might even be using hard drugs. What will I know?
Now you have me wondering if you're her dad.
So what happened to that promise of minding your own business?
Please.
So you think the same fate will befall me? Only time can tell. It's a waiting game then.
We embrace the new year. I know many questions are lingering in your mind about what is in store for you.
All they discovered was the one thing that they are good at, the thing that they are passionate about.
Yeah.
And with that one thing, you can actually live off it. Yeah. And once you embrace that strength, now that's when now anything that you want to achieve, you will achieve.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. We shall definitely be continuing with our discussion on just better understanding how best to promote local ICT startups in this country. But before we get to continue with that, to a story that has really elicited reactions, concerns in the country over the past months, that is in regards to the housing levy, where a section of beneficiaries of the housing levy drawn from the Jua Kali sector, the micro, small and medium enterprises and the community-based organizations are now calling on the High Court to retract the November 30th declaration that the act violated constitutional principles. The protesters took to Nairobi's central business district streets in peaceful procession and later addressed the media outside the Supreme Court. They claim the housing project has provided job opportunities to the youths, and halting it will be a disaster. Take a look.
Thursday morning in the capital's central business district, hundreds of youth take to the streets to declare their support for the housing levy that was declared unconstitutional by the courts. Their chants, from the City Hallway to Parliament Road and back to the Supreme Court, they made their case hard. Some even venting out, calling on Senator Okiya Omtata to leave the levy matters and focus on other things. Outside the court, youth and their representatives said the corridors of justice ought to look into the issue of the youth who are employed to ensure the success of the housing project. According to them, over 600,000 people are currently employed through the government-sponsored project.
Hawa mafundi wote mnaniona nao hapa wataenda wapi? Tumetoka site leo tukuje tupatiane ujumbe. Koti ikiangalia tunaheshimu koti sana na ni yetu. Lakini tunamuomba atuangalie asije akatuangusha, watu wote watalala na njaa. Hao wote tuliwatoa waache kuwa waisi huko kama Madhare wapi. Sasa anataka waruti wapi? Kasi kisha.
They further dismissed any political connection to the protests.
Hakuna mtu wa serikali tuko naye hapa. Hii ni Jua Kali except security guys ndio tuko nao hapa. Kwa hivyo hapa hakuna politics, hakuna kitu kingine, ni sisi. Hii mambo unaona kila Jua Kali, kila cluster imechanga pesa ya watu wake kupika hapa. Na kwa vile ni mavundi, wengine tumewatoa kwa mjengo wakuje kuhudhuria hii kikao.
Tunaunga mkono hii housing levy ndio tuweze kujenga nyumba mingi, kwa sababu ukiangalia watu wa chini hawezi afford mortgage. Kwa hivyo hii nyumba tenant purchase ile unapewa nyumba unalipa polepole, hiyo tu ndio inaweza tusaidia.
Kenya's High Court had declared that the 1.5% levy introduced in an act to fund affordable housing as in violation of the constitutional principles. The levy was a provision of the Finance Act 2023 which faced legal challenges. It was further seen to be in violation of the principle of the taxation as it makes an unjustified distinction between people employed in the formal and informal sectors.
It will enable the people in the slum to have a decent household.
Sisi vijana hatuna job. Hiyo ndio mboka yenye napigwa pale yenye nasaidia vijana. Wamama wale wenye napigia chakula kwa watu wa mjengo, hapo ndio mboka yao inaingia. So wakati hii mjengo inasimamishwa kwa sababu ya housing levy, inatuma sana kwa sababu the crime rate itakuwa juu.
Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
All right, away from that, we now want to continue with our discussion of the day, still holding court with Siddiq Harunani, who is the CEO and founder of Genius Business Systems, that is GBS Africa. We are centering our discussion on better understanding how best to promote local ICT startups in this country. Siddiq, we were on that bit of trying to understand that the fact that Kenya is among top 5 countries in the continent, of course, after the likes of South Africa, and the developed countries in the continent. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So then, when you look at these challenges that you were speaking about, why are we still finding ourselves in there? What is the missing link?
You see, any business, for it to take to the next level, take an example of Facebook, take an example of Microsoft, and take an example of Uber. There is definitely a founder in that company who invented the idea.
Yeah.
But what took that business to the next level was an investment.
Okay.
All right. So I think there is a gap between the business community, all right, and the founder of the company or the idea inventor. There has to be a coordination, all right, or a kind of a synergy between these two entities. One is the investor and one is the founder or the innovator of the idea. Now, such events have to be organized, such programs have to be promoted, and the government has to play a very important role in this. When the investor is going to see a potential idea, and in Kenya we have numerous brains. I would say we are one of the top in Africa.
Yeah.
I would say one of the top 4 in Africa with the brightest of minds, because I consider Nairobi to be the Silicon Valley of Kenya. But yet we are not really going to the next level. What's the reason? So when I was giving you the example of Facebook, Microsoft and the like, what I meant was that investor, if you know about Zuckerberg, for example, was he the investor of that company? No. His idea was brilliant, but there were some people who actually bought out the idea and they invested heavily in the company. Today, if the same is going to happen in Kenya, I believe that we are going to be one of the richest country in Africa.
Before we come to the government's beat and basically what more the government can do, from your assessment, how easy or difficult is it to start an ICT hub for a local youth, for instance? Because you talked about the fact that we have the best of brains, for instance. How difficult or how easy is it to do that?
To start up, it's not difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, because what I see in Kenya is that the young minds and the young generation are very patient. I am an employer. I have employed people, and I believe that every Kenyan has a dream to make it big. So friends get along, they come up with an idea from universities, and ideally they come up with a product, and they will work on that, and they will make it big. But where the growth is not taking place is because of the investment. So such kind of establishments are not difficult to achieve. What is the problem is that when you are too young to actually establish a business without work experience or without financial knowledge or without management experiences, there becomes a problem. Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of insufficient investments into these local ICT startups. When you talk about investments, what exactly are you talking about?
You see, every business requires money for the running cost of the business. All right? Salaries have to be paid. More expertise has to be acquired. A business is normally started off by one person. But you definitely require an accountant for that business. You require infrastructure, you require R&D, research, and so many other things to run a business. So the running cost of the business is extremely important. So the investment is required for that. And any business, any software company to be established, there is an integration with third-party vendors. Okay? And there is also a requirement for research, as I said. Okay, to research before you actually come up with your final product. You will require a lot of people to research on the products. So there is that investment that is required. Once the idea is there, once the product is established, after that you need to market the product. You need to bring it in the market. And as such, when you want to bring a product in the market, you need to have a marketing team, you need to have a sales team. All that requires heavy investment.
So this investment, who needs to be investing in this business? Why I ask that is because I'm taking a scenario of, for instance, this is a young person, as you said. Take it, maybe they've just left college or something, and this is their forte. This is really what they really want to do, ICT, and they're looking into having a startup or beginning a startup in that particular sector.
Yeah.
So when you're saying this person, for instance, needs to invest, they may not be having the muscle, the financial muscle power to do that. So who needs to be investing so then it thrives as a business?
You see, investment can come from either, financial institutions like banks.
Okay.
All right. Alternatively, the customers could also invest. I'll give you a simple example. When I started up my company, all right, I had a brilliant idea to come up with a simple inventory management system for a workshop. Okay? Having developed that system, I can go to my customer and tell him, can you please invest something in my business for what I've done, achieved so far.
This was your beginning.
This is my beginning. Now, such kind of investments can come from either your customers, your well-wishers. So that is going to take your company at least on survival mode for the next 1 to 2 years. All right? Once your business is able to rotate and you're able to get more clients from that investment, you no more need an investment. You can continue expanding your business. What I am against is investing too much on the business. If you invest too much in the business and your business is not going to sustain, then that's going to be a problem. That's why a lot of IT companies who start up, they come up with a brilliant idea and there's a lot of investment and all of a sudden it goes bust. Okay. So those kind of investments should not be considered.
Well said. Talk to me about the role of government and how they can play a big part into ICT local startups.
Yes. So, you see, ICT local startups, I think in the year 2012, there were these events that were organized where there was a synergy between the government and the universities and the startups. We would actually see, His Excellency Mr. Bitangen Demo, he was actually participating actively in the ICT. He still does. And that's something really brilliant because they would actually synergize with the local company, see a potential idea, and then they say, okay, fine, this company could actually participate and let's try to give them the opportunity to do a small project in the government sector. So those kind of ideas really work, and it gives an opportunity to the startup company to participate in the real business world of IT.
So the role of government, from what you're saying, is more than just creating an enabling environment.
Enabling environment, yes. Okay. That's what we entrepreneurs are actually looking for.
All right.
Yeah, more than actually, financial capital. Okay. Because I can tell you, you can have a brilliant, a big investment in the business, but if there is no opportunity to actually get the contracts in hand, then it's all a waste of money.
In a nutshell, just paint for me a picture how an enabling environment looks like. You've talked about the contracts, well said, but then how does this environment look like for instance, maybe a young person or just anyone who's opining to starting such kind of a business?
It's a celebration, let me tell you. When any startup company would actually get one contract from the government, for example, so obviously it would make them feel, very proud of what they're actually doing. And it will give them the opportunity to put all their ideas into the real world of how the businesses are operating, whether it's a government sector or it's a parastatal or a private institution or an education sector. So that's the place where they're actually going to get the exposure and the requirements. So all the skill that they've acquired during the academics or during the startup, they will actually be applying all those skills in the real world environment. Yeah.
All right. Now, there's another issue I want to tackle before we close this discussion, and that's on protecting these local startups. Because again, it's one thing to be nudging the government to create this enabling environment, which they can do, but then foreign or multinationals, how do you protect, from your experience, how do you protect local companies from such? What is the best strategy?
Okay. The best strategy to protect your business so that you can survive and you can be in the market for long term is simple. You just provide a good service to your clients. My experience tells me that. I have been in the business
since... So what, the local companies provide good services for their clients?
For their clients, yeah.
But doesn't the multinationals only have an edge?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Since 2009, when I started off this business till today, it's been more than around 15 years now. And we have actually replaced multinational softwares. And we have clients who are on international packages, international accounting systems, but such accounting systems have been replaced with Tech23, which is our brand. And what keeps us moving is the research that we continuously implement in our companies. We continuously recruit fresh minds and we expand our business. And we have to make sure that the changing environment of businesses has your systems and your solutions have to keep upgrading as per the change that is happening in the business environment, and that keeps us moving with our clients.
That it means quite a lot needs to be done in that regard.
Yeah, exactly.
As you say. Finally, Sadiq, what does the future hold for local startups in that sector, ICT?
Okay, from what I've read, like we have almost 300 startups in Kenya, you know, and most of them, as the report which I've just read recently, there's been a growth of almost 15% from 2022 to 2023. So that means that this sector is really growing, and we understand there are challenges in our country right now, but we are addressing them as a country. But the startups and the advancement in technology is increasing. So just imagine if we were to sort out all the issues that we have currently in our country, then this country would be at a different level. I think startups are really expanding, and they've really made big, not only in the Kenyan market, but international recognition has happened for those startups.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sadiq Harunani has been my guest, and what we've been discussing is just promoting local ICT startups, giving us bits and pieces, insight into where we are as a country and by extension also as a continent in regards to matters ICT and what more the government can do in regards to better safeguard local startups in this country. We now train our focus to matters sports now, where Manchester City had come from behind to beat Everton 3-1 as the champions kept pace with English Premier League's leaders Liverpool. Noni Madueke scored an 89th minute winner from the penalty spot to help Chelsea overcome Crystal Palace 2-1 at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League.
Everton took the lead with their first meaningful attack of the game when Jack Harrison slotted in from close range. Manchester City responded after the break. It created numerous chances throughout. Nicholas Jackson thought he had scored in the 77th minute when he poked on Thiago Silva's deep cross, but the video assistant referee VAR ruled the forward was just offside. Chelsea got the break they needed in a tense finale when the VAR spotted Eberechi Eze had fouled substitute Madueke just inside the area, and the England under-20 the match, Hwang Hee-chan scored twice as Wolves won 4-1 to inflict a fourth consecutive Premier League defeat on a depleted Brentford side at the G-Tech Community Stadium.
Squares across, Bellegarde!
Martin Njoroge and Sasha Mungeli are in total command of the Kenya National Chess Championship, which entered day 3 today at Charter Hall in Nairobi. Going into the 5th round today, Njoroge is leading the men's standing with maximum 4 points, tied with Elvis Likoko, Brian Mwangi and Hai Misiko, who are lined up in 2nd to 4th positions respectively. Sasha Mungeli is at the top of the women's standing, also on maximum 4 points, and is closely followed by Joyce Ndirangu, Elizabeth Kasidi and Madelta Glenda, who are 2nd to 4th respectively. The 4-day tournament, which has attracted over 100 players, will end tomorrow with the overall champion after the 7 rounds driving off in a brand new car. And that story definitely puts a cap on what we had lined up for you this Thursday afternoon. We definitely appreciate your valid company. Lensa Odingo has been my co-anchor, and I'm Doreen Arange. Good afternoon.